All right, well, we're still taking the bumper off, so we'll start with that today. I think this time I'm going to take you all along with me, but before we get started, I thought maybe I'd just have a little sit here on the front of the Catalina and kind of tell you a little bit what brought this project about. So, back in April, on April 8th, my company dissolved my role, and I was laid off, let go, without employment, and kind of just came out of nowhere. They'd just given me a raise. I was a little surprised and taken back by it, and um, I guess a little angry, a little hurt, little bit of everything. I mean, it's just business. At the end of the day, the company's got to do what the company's going to do, and it it just kind of came out of nowhere. Fast forward to Easter. We kind of all did our own thing this year in my family. We did an event at my wife's family's and had, like a late afternoon dinner, or, well, more of a lunch, late lunch, lunner, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Had sent my mom a happy Easter and hadn't heard back from her. My sister had stopped over and checked on her, and she was sleeping. But it sounds like she had been sleeping a lot that weekend. And 8 o'clock rolls around, and nobody had heard from her. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go check on her and just make sure she's okay. And so I did. And come to find out, she was catatonic, wasn't really there and aware of what was going on, and was having seizures. She never had seizures before. It kind of caught me off guard. It was pretty scary. I had to call 911. We got her to the hospital. At the hospital, she was in and out of consciousness, and then her blood pressure started tanking. I honestly didn't think my mom was going to make it through the night, or I didn't think she was going to make it through the next couple days. But fast forward a week later, she's kind of coming out of it. She's had been put on a respirator and was off the respirator, was coming around. She had since moved in with me on hospice, so she's been staying with me at my house here. That's my house back there. Pretty nice size house. It's comfortable for all of us. And it's just been it's been an adventure. So I'm still looking for work. I've recently provisionally passed my CISSP. I am a certified CISO through EC Council. I've got years and years of experience in IT and security and networking and systems and network administration. And I'm still, that's what I do for a living and for my income. But it's hard to stay motivated and keep from getting depressed when your livelihood is taken away and you're having a hard time finding work. It's just not good for your mental health. It's just not good in general. I mean, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of unneeded things, that are put on you because of it. And I fortunately got the opportunity to get this Catalina that I'm sitting on right here, this nice little vehicle right here. And as a way to kind of step away and get away from the stress of everything, I've got something I could come out and wrench on. Now, am I going to be able to restore it? I don't know. I'm going to be real. I said it in the first video, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a body guy. I like to wrench. I like to dig in, and I like to figure things out. I'm not going to let that stop me, for sure. But it's not my trade. I'm not, I don't know electrical. I don't know engines. I know enough to be dangerous, for sure. But that's not what I normally do. but it's something I like to do. It's something I like to put energy in and have fun with. I had an 86 Camaro that I worked on for a while. I was kind of forced to sell that. But I've had other old vehicles. I had a 69 Catalina Ventura, 4-door Ventura. That had a 400 in it. I liked wrenching on that and keeping that running. That got totaled. I got rear-ended by a van, and it just did more damage than I had the time, money, or capability to restore. I had a 72 2-door Ventura, the 70s Pontiac version of the Nova. I was looking forward to wrenching on that. I like wrenching on it. I've had other cars that I like working on. I like these older more mechanical vehicles because they're easier to work on, obviously, especially for someone who's more of a novice like me. So yeah, that's kind of the story of Betsy here, the old Catalina Safari wagon that we got. I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. My mom was feeling bad about not paying rent, living here on hospice. I didn't want her to feel bad about it, so I said, hey, why don't you get this for me for my birthday as a way to let her pay something if she wanted to. And she was like, I'll do that, yeah. And so it kind of worked out. It was, and like I said, it gives me something to do to get out of my normal routine. My other big project that I work on in my spare time is I run a gaming community called 7 Days Dedicated. So you might see me in your feed. If you watch this, it might come up in your feed for me on that channel too, where I host game servers, mostly sandbox style games. And I do videos to kind of show what services or what games I'm hosting, and just kind of show the servers that we run. So anyways, that's kind of the story. That's where we are today. I'm still looking for work. I'm working hard. I am fortunately on unemployment, so I've got that to kind of help. I'm going to have to obviously find work, and I've been looking. Sorry, there's some, I don't know if it's vomit and random animal feces in my driveway. I don't know what it came from. Whatever it is, it looks sick. I won't show it, don't worry. But anyways, yeah, I've got opportunities. I've been doing things to help better myself and further my career. Hopefully I find a job here soon. But in the meantime, I got something I could take you guys along with me on as a novice and kind of share the things that I learned as a novice that I think, maybe will help be more geared towards novices. But I figured this time I'll actually let you see what I'm working on and how I'm doing it and what I'm trying to do. So on the bumper, the bolt end is a 3/4 and the nut end is a 13/16. So I'm going to flip the camera around here for a second. I got going here. So I've got my impact. Now I don't have an extension that's a 1/2 inch. That's the old coil. Probably going to have to replace that. So I had to take my 1/2 inch down to a 3/8 into an extension, into an adapter back up to 1/2 inch for the 3/16 bit. So this will be a little interesting. I'm not gonna lie. And then I've got my 3/4 bit here, or my 3/4 Pittsburgh little box wrench there. I'm gonna let the camera sit underneath the car here. We're gonna go down there together, and you can kind of watch it. Hopefully, see what I'm trying to do to get this working. So let me get underneath the car here for a second. All right. So on this side here, you can see, well, I guess you can't see it from there. If you look up here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this up there this way. Let me take this off, and then we'll kind of wedge this up. So, right. All right, I'm going to have to stitch these together. This is trying to show where the bolt is for the mount. So back behind this right here, I'm going to try to get this out of my way. There's a heater element there, and then I don't know if you could see it. I'm trying there, right there. That bolt right there is a 3/4 bolt. That's what we're putting our wrench on. All right, I'm going to have to stitch 3 pieces together. So that bolt that I showed in the last part is part of it. So it's right up by where that cord is. I'm going to get the wrench hooked up on it really quick. I can't really see. Trying to get it snagged down there. Okay, there we go. I think I got it now. That's that side. On this side is where the nut is, and I don't know if you could you're going to be able to see it necessarily from down there. So the nut is kind of back up over in here. I don't know how to get my phone there so you can see it. Maybe you can see it right there. No, not really. Well, anyways, it's there. Trust me, that's that's where we're looking. So I'm gonna lay you right there. I think that's gonna get the best view of this. And then what I gotta do is I gotta get this wrench. Oh, this is too long. Okay. This is going to be interesting, to say the least. Oh, hopefully it's still recording and I didn't stop it. Alright. Alright, I think I'm on. Oh, maybe not. Shoot, I don't know if I'm on there. Oh, it's on. Alright, well, we'll see if this works. Nope, it came free. I can't really get this wrench, this impact wrench in there where I need it to be. There's like metal in the way that I can't tell if it's been bent. But that's what I'm fighting against. There's also another bolt up in here that needs to come off as well. Alright, so this is like take 4, I guess. I keep cutting these together. So there's going to be some drop cuts. Basically, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try to find a way to get the impact wrench in there. I can't really do it with the phone in the way. So I'm going to do this, and then I'll come back once I've got it off. Hopefully it doesn't take me much. Sorry, that's crap in my hair. Hopefully it doesn't take me much, but this is going to be a couple videos stitched together, so there might be some weird breaks in there. I apologize, I kept bumping the phone. Hopefully it's not too bad and you're able to follow it. But long story short, we're getting this front bumper off today, one way or another. So I will check back in shortly once I've gotten that taken care of. See you guys soon.